Hello, and welcome to a special episode of Disrupt Your Now because next week, my friend Ryan Garrett and I are going to be in Iowa speaking at the Iowa Veterans Entrepreneurship Conference. So, because of that, I'm taking advantage of the director of the Iowa Small Business Development Center. Correct me in a minute if I said it wrong. But so I have Lisa Shimkat on. We're going to talk about the conference, but we're also going to talk about what SBDC can do for small businesses, whether it's veteran owned or anybody else, and the types of things that are offered. And we're also going to talk about the conference and the pitch competitions that we're having. So welcome to the show, Lisa.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to be on here and so much happening. So it's so exciting and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and I'm really looking forward to being up there next week. And for me personally, it's also a cheat thing because my cousin lives in Des Moines, so I'll get to visit her too.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so introduce yourself to the audience. Tell us about your background and how you got to where you are today.
Sure. So Lisa Shimkat, I'm the state director of the Small Business Development Centers here in Iowa. And my path was not a straight one. My background, I started out, I went to the community college, then transferred to Iowa State. My background's in operations. How can we do things better? So I was a plant manager for an agricultural rebuilder, worked for a nonprofit for a while. And I was actually at a fundraiser when I heard somebody talking about business plans. And I remember turning around and said, well, actually, if you're looking at the market analysis, we need to do X, Y, Z. And they looked at me and said, how do you know that? Well, 2 minutes later, they said, well, we have a position. Would you like to interview for it? So I started out.
Goes to show you just never know.
Exactly. And you need to speak up.
That's right.
When you have something to say, you need to speak up. So exactly. We are really excited, though, with the Veterans Conference coming up next week. There's so many different folks coming. I mean, you're going to be there. Yeah. So I think one of the things that I want to share, especially as we kind of transform into small business development, is there's no one path. Kind of like my path to get where I am today, there's no one path. Everybody has to take their own path, but use the resources that are available to you. Use those folks out there and those resources that are at no cost. And we are just one of them at no cost.
I'm so glad that you brought that up because I preach that to people all the time. It's your business and you can make it anything you want, which is why I wrote Disrupt Your Now, because I'm so tired of people saying, one day I'll do this and someday I'll do that. I'm like, no, start thinking now. Even if you already own a business, you can take little baby steps to make it perfect for the life that you want to live. But I don't know if you see this a lot, but I see this a lot, that so many business owners end up unhappy because they have built the business somebody else wants instead of following their own gut. And
absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, you have core things that everybody needs to do.
Exactly.
But outside of that, you can do anything you want.
And you also have to be ready to accept input as well.
Yes.
I think that's one thing that you need to make it your own. But at the same time, I remember, 5 years ago, we had people say, do I need to do this social media stuff? And we'd smile and say, well, do you want to be relevant in 5 years?
Exactly.
And that was one thing when we had the disruption in 2020. Those that were already ready to accept social media, to put themselves out there and to do business differently had a leg up. It didn't mean that it left a lot of people behind. What it meant was there might have been a longer learning curve. So one of the things, too, is knowing about your market and how people receive that information, and then figuring out how can I deliver that to them the way they want it.
Exactly. And continuing to learn yourself, whether you apply it right then, just be aware of what is out there. So whenever you decide you're ready, I was teaching social media courses in, I think it was 2010, all that long ago, for the Economic Development Organization here locally. And of course, nobody knew who Twitter was. I mean, what Twitter was, but it was a lot of fun. Sorry, got off track.
Oh, no.
So when you started this job, did you hit the ground running? Was it what you thought it would be or what?
I will say probably my first few weeks, I really felt like I had no idea what I was doing. I felt like every business owner I was going to be helping. And what I've learned, and what a lot of my team across the state, we have 15 centers across the state, and they're all providing those services to every county in the state.
Yeah.
And what we found out is there are times we wish we could go back to our first clients, to our, just like a business wants to go back to their first customers and say, I'm sorry, I know so much more now. But today is a new day. Today is a different day. And that's what's really fun about what we do, is that it is different, and you have to be ready to continuously learn so that you can stay ahead of the curve. And that's one thing that really, I think, sets not only our organization, but there's also SCORE, there's women's business centers, there's the veterans business outreach centers. So we're very fortunate to have all of those partners helping businesses.
That's great. Y'all are doing some awesome things. And I want to tell the audience out there, any resources, as Lisa mentioned, take advantage of any resources, and also get to know the people that you're connected with on LinkedIn or in your chamber or whatever, because having a network is great, but also having mentors who know more than you, who can push you further and that you can learn from, is so important. It's really easy to become isolated when you work for yourself, because you have your nose to the grindstone all the time. You're like a rat on a wheel, and I'm too busy for all this stuff.
And one of the things I did even early in my career is went up to somebody and said, okay, you're going to help me. You're going to mentor me. I need what you are teaching. I need to know what you know.
That's
and as business owners, exactly what you just said, business owners need to do the same thing. Because as a business owner, you can ask anyone out there. They want to help other business owners.
They do. They really, really do. And if y'all out there don't believe it, I assure you, the vast majority of them really do. And even people who are in your own industry. Because if they're truly a good entrepreneur, they look at competition as a good thing. And it's a driving force. And they really do like to help other people be successful. Yeah.
I'm married to a business owner. One of our children is a business owner.
Oh, wow.
And it's really fun watching even, our youngest son grow in his business. Like you said, he's reached out to folks that are utilizing YouTube for a lot of their marketing and to get those followers. And for me, that's different. I had somebody say to me the other day, oh, you're probably over 50. So you have Facebook, right? And I said, okay, you're right on both accounts, but you know what? Maybe I need to shake my brain a little bit and realize, okay, I need to figure out additional methods to get our message out to really help reach those entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Well, you know what I think is funny, and I'm 62, so I always tell people I don't even care if you know how old I am. I'm like, you need to be proud of how old you are.
Absolutely.
And I'm totally going off track now, but this is what I tell people. Okay, if you want to be younger, which years of your life are you willing to give up? So that's just a little nugget for y'all to think about. But going back to what you said about the younger people, go, oh, you're over 50. What's hilarious is they really, and I don't mean this to be mean, but they really only know their little slice of whatever apps they're using, unless it is someone like your son who's working in it. But the average young person who thinks older people are dumb, it's like, oh, the only reason you know this stuff is because you don't want to be where the older people are, and so anyway, I could go on for that forever. But, when I wrote Boomer Cash Out, I wrote it for people 50 and older, trying to get them to understand how and why they should be using the web strategically. And I'm shocked at how many people in their 20s reach out to me and say, oh my God, I love this book, because it makes them think of it. And I'm not trying to advertise it, but I'm just saying we kind of take for granted what we think other people know, and they don't really.
Right. And like you said, it gets people to think. And that's what we're trying to do. No matter what stage of the business you're in, you need to be thinking about your business, because as what you said earlier about you get that tunnel vision working in your business. Oh, I got another order coming in. I need to get another mailer out. But you
Yeah.
forget, where do I want to be 3 months from now? Where do I want to be 6 months, 12 months? What's my exit plan? And
Exactly.
those are all things that are so crucial to the success of a business. What is your exit?
Mhm.
You know, do you have a plan for the sustainability of that business beyond what you're able to do with it?
And the vast majority of people don't, even people who've owned their business for decades. This
Yes.
is another reason I wrote Boomer Cash Out, because I'm into economic development, and it's like we have all these businesses all over the country that are integral parts of their communities.
Right.
And when they're gone, they're gone. You know, and
Absolutely.
my father's business was one of them. It was started in like the 20s or something. And then he was the next owner. And in the 80s, it was a music and appliance store. Of course, that was a really difficult time because of malls and stuff. And then
Right.
he started having health problems, and they just closed down and sold the building. And I always thought it was so sad. And even now, so that was 40 years ago, I have people come up to me and tell me how much that store meant to them. And they tell me all these memories of, oh, I used to go in and do this and this. And a lot of business owners don't think about that. So we owe it not only to ourselves, we owe it to our communities to try to keep this business going.
Absolutely. And if I can add one other thing to that, is
Yeah.
those business owners are also the first ones we go to, especially in rural areas, with, hey, we have a fundraiser for the prom. We have a fundraiser for this. Will you donate to this? Will you sponsor a hole for the golf tournament? That helps all the nonprofits. That really helps round out a community. And when we lose a business, you're losing that philanthropy. You're losing that connection. And like you said, people forget, shop local, shop small.
Yeah.
At least give them a shot.
That's right. You know, here, well, not in the town I live in, but the town the next county over, it's only half an hour away. It's probably been 10-ish years or so. There's a men's apparel store there that was started over 100 years ago that you would assume would have to shut down. And working with the SBDC for our region, they were able to identify a young employee in their store. I think he was only like either in high school or just out, but he loved it. And they were able to identify that he had the potential to become an owner. And so basically, they trained him through the business and worked out a deal with the SBDC. So he owns this dream business that's been around for over 100 years with a wonderful name. And these elderly people got to go on and know that their legacy was being carried forward. I love that.
I love those stories too. And I think that's why we keep doing what we do. Because we get to know the story behind the story. Everyone may know, okay, well, that transition to a new owner, but the story behind it is about the love for the business. It's about the being able to give back to the community and continue it in the community.
Yeah, for sure. I can't even imagine the wonderful stories that you get to be a part of and that you get to see. And I'm going to cry. I'm going to try not to. I'm one of these people, Ryan will tell you, Lisa cries all the time. So, but it just really touches me when I think about, what a difference y'all make in people's lives. So let's talk about the conference that's coming up. And I want to talk about veterans and military spouses and how things are different for them. But I also want people out there who are not in the military community to understand that there are conferences like this for y'all as well. So I don't want you to think, oh, this is irrelevant because I'm not military. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so the conference itself has a lot of different tracks, and I actually had to write them down so I wouldn't forget some of them. But it talks about the small business certification for veterans, forms of ownership. How do you decide, do I want to be a partnership? Am I an LLC? Am I a S Corp, a C Corp? Kind of navigating through all of those questions that sometimes are that last hurdle for somebody to really open that business. Because if you keep hitting hurdle after hurdle or brick wall after brick wall, many people just throw their hands up and say, I just can't. But that's where we want to try to erase all of those to help them find that guiding path to either starting their business or strengthening their business.
Yes, because if they don't do that right from the get-go, it can cost them so much more and be so much harder to switch over. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't if you made the wrong decision. But the earlier you can make the right decisions,
yes,
the better off you will be.
And I think one of the ones for me is talking about business model canvas. Now, that's one of those things your folks can Google out there, go out on the internet, look it up. But business model canvas, I think, is a key tool to help people figure out who their customers are. Because so many times we get in our head, here are the customers I've been helping for the last 5 years. And guess what? Sometimes that changes, but have you changed to meet your new customers?
Right.
And as a business owner, to maximize those profits, really taking a deep dive into who are your customers, how do they receive information, and how can you attract new ones? So it is really fun to be able to take a step back and look at your business to figure out, what do I need to do next? How can I prepare this business to be stronger?
People don't realize how creative just going through those steps is. And the more you think creatively, the more conditioned you become to thinking creatively, and it helps you be more open-minded. And as you mentioned, attract new customers. Well, not just new ones, but whole new target markets. Because a lot of times you may be in a business, you're in this business, and there's this tiny little niche over here that, whether it's a different audience or some kind of tweak to how the service is provided or whatever, that nobody is hitting, that you can shift over there a little bit and really hit big.
Absolutely. I'm going to give an example of one business that during COVID, I will say this, I hate shopping. Okay?
I do.
Throw that out there.
I scan and then I leave if it doesn't catch my eye.
Yeah. And if the whole outfit is not together on a mannequin, I don't know how to put it together. I'll be honest. So one of the local businesses during when 2020 hit, and she went to Facebook. And I had never been in that business. I am literally 6 blocks from that business. And she said, you know what? All you need to do is comment and tell us the size and I'll have it ready for you. Text me when you're here and we can do everything electronically. And I thought, wow, you know what? Awesome. To your point, I was that segment of the market that wasn't going there. And she figured out what she needed to do to hit us, to work with us, and to make it.
She educated you on how to get to them. We have a special guest. Ryan. Hey, Ryan, meet Lisa.
Hey, Lisa. Hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
My God. So I'm on the road, so I'm going to try not to get myself killed here.
Please. We need you to speak next week.
I know. I was listening and Lisa was starting to cry. I thought, all right, I got to get on there quick before Lisa starts losing it.
Intervene.
Oh my goodness. Well, hey, I've been listening to the show. Love it. Really appreciate everything that not only that you're doing, but that you've been through, Lisa. What a cool story.
Yeah, you, Lisa, not me, Lisa. You, Lisa.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you, Lisa.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Because a lot of people think people who work in SWDC or whatever, they kind of think that's what they've been doing forever. So tell us what you're going to be talking about, Ron.
Hey, I got some fun stuff that we're going to be doing. So at the event in Iowa, we're going to be giving away a spot on Colin's car. So the 1111 Veteran Project, we're going to be giving a spot away worth about $10,000. But what's really cool, and I think it's fun, and because Lisa and I have been involved so much in economic development, but helping businesses really understand how they can be more powerful as partners, is that rather than just giving away the spot to somebody and saying, congratulations, here you go, we're going to have them pitch for it, right? So there's multiple businesses that are going to really have to step up and think about, how can I be a good partner, right? How can I align with another organization to not only do some great things for myself, but also, how can I be a partner in the long run by really taking advantage of this opportunity for myself and for the other organization. Now, for us, it's threefold, because it's not just the business that will win. It's not just what they can do to support 1111, but it's also the other veteran service organizations that we, sorry, I'm trying not to get killed here, that we're supporting as well. So, what a win-win-win this can be for whoever the winner of this event is. And it'll be fun because it's on a race car, and that's just cool, right? The folks that win this, hopefully they'll be able to actually be at the race that they're on the car. And what better than to do good for yourself, do good for others, and have fun while you're doing it, right?
That's right. And have evergreen content that you can use forever to promote your business in a fun way.
Yeah, for sure. Ask Donnell Johns at Veterans Growing America. Ask Sherman Williams at Body Aqua. They've got content that they're still using to this day. So it's there's definitely some great opportunities for whoever the business is that wins. Sorry, this is terrible to be doing on the road, but
just let us know when you need to go, Ryan, because we don't want you to get killed.
I'm afraid you'll know. When I go end over end, you'll know it's over. So.
Oh, okay. Well, at least we'll go viral. I should be slapped for saying that.
Here we've been trying to think of what the thing would be that's viral, and now we got it, right? I just need to execute.
That's right. Well, tell me about what you're going to be talking about when you speak.
Yeah, so one of the things that I have just aspired to my entire career is just having a higher purpose to everything we do, but certainly as business owners. One of the things that I said to Colin when I was willing to help him with his racing career is that beyond entertainment, which racing is, and that's cool, but also beyond selling product or a service, I just wanted his career to have a higher purpose. Now, he was 15 when I was talking to him about this. So, he understood it as well as a 15-year-old could. But today at 22, he gets it because he's working side by side, especially in his tactical training, right? He's training folks before they deploy. So he's training SEALs and SWCS and Marines and whoever. So he is side by side with them. He's serving those who serve. They're part of his life as well. So that higher purpose, which we started with, how do we stop veteran suicide? Right? That was our first thought. What we quickly realized was the way you do that is to provide opportunity to resources. And so one of the things that certainly Lisa and I have in our quiver is the ability to help businesses, right? And especially small businesses. So this is right up our alley, but we see this as providing opportunities for military families to support themselves, to better their lives, which in turn saves lives, right? And so anyway, that's the gist of what I'll be speaking about. I've got a few other things that I'll save and surprise the group a little bit with my story and how I figured out my why and how that can help them too.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Lisa, did you have anything you want to ask Ron before we let him go and drive?
I do. You have one comment you can make to a new business owner to give them that one piece of advice. What would it be?
Yeah. So it is literally, you've got to understand your why. You've got to understand when you wake up in the morning, when you reach for something outside of business, right? What is that, right? What's the thing that drives you? And so often we relate that to our vocation, right? Mm-hmm. We immediately go to, well, let's see. So for me, I'm a financial advisor. So I immediately start thinking about others and my business and who I'm serving. And that's not the key. The key is, what is that thing inside you that drives you no matter what you're doing? So to me, it's what kind of people do you hang out with? What games do you play? What are the things that are interesting to you outside of your work? That's where you're going to find your why. It may really surprise you. It took me a long time to figure that out. And I'm actually going to go through that with this group, help them figure out how to figure out their why. And they'll see the impact is dramatic when you understand yourself. So understand your business, understand your product, understand your service, all important. Yep. But man, when you understand who you are and what really drives you, I mean, really drives you, then, oh my gosh, your life is just powerful. It's just powerful. You make a way better partner too.
That's how's that for a teaser coming into the conference? And wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. And assuming I survive this trip, I will see you there. So.
Well, y'all be careful, and thanks for popping in, Ryan.
Absolutely. Lisa, nice to meet you, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
I knew he was going to try to pop in, but I didn't want to tell you because I knew he was traveling, and because I was like, I don't want to say might, and then if he couldn't, it wouldn't work out.
That was
amazing.
Yes. I want to listen to his talk today. And we still have to wait, but
he's really interesting and so sweet and just such a really, really good person. I mean, genuinely, we've become like family since I've been working. It'll be 5 years this October or November that I've been working with Colin. And so 5 of the 7 years that he's been racing. And I've become like family with them. And they're just such a good family, such a great family with big hearts. And I think that the people at the conference will see that.
I'm excited. That is amazing. And an amazing story. I love hearing people's stories. And he echoed a lot of the things that we had been talking about.
Yeah.
How much business owners give back, how people look at how can I help someone else? And so, to anyone listening, if you're a business owner and feeling alone and gosh, how do I handle this next hurdle? Grab people and pull them into your circle. It's so important. And there's people that this is what they do. The small business development centers are everywhere. They're in all of the states, Puerto Rico, Guam, America Samoa. There's a resource there. And if they can't help you, they're usually plugged in enough that they can tell you who else is available.
True. And if you're out there and you feel like you don't need the SBDC, maybe they need you. So reach out as a business owner to see what you may be able to do as a volunteer to help them to do workshops or whatever.
Absolutely. And if you just want to do a little something, then post on Facebook. Well, see, once again, dating myself, or Instagram or whatever social media platform you do, and promote another business. Tag them, go to them, tag them, and make a conscious effort to visit a few small businesses that you haven't in your own community, and just help get the word out about them.
That's such a great point, because helping other people helps you, but it also feels good. It feels so good to help other people. And if you want to be totally selfish about it, the more you help other people, the more it will come back to you. So even if you're selfish and greedy and you don't want to help other people, do it anyway because you'll help yourself.
Exactly.
So let's go back to talking at the conference. I forgot what we were talking about we
were just talking about some of the topics. We talked about business model canvas and knowing your customer.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Another thing that is going to be there is financing. How do I get financing? Now, I will say this. Many times people ask, where's all the free money?
Yeah.
And I will say that there's not free money out there. However, there are low interest loans. There are local programs that are willing to help. And sometimes we do have some of those local programs, whether it's a community or a county or even a state-run program that can be in conjunction with a loan that may have some sort of forgivable aspect to it. I don't want to use the G word as far as grant, but there's a lot of options out there. And it's about planning and putting together your plan for how you're going to use it and how whatever it is you want to buy or expand with, how it's going to help you make more money. Because at the end of the day, you still need to make money, but you can do it in a way that also allows you to give back to your community.
Exactly. So let's talk about, like, what are some of the biggest lessons that you've seen some of your clients learn? And if you want to specifically talk about a veteran-owned business, that's fine.
Yes. So one of the ones that it's a veteran-owned business, and he has been doing a lot of work, with the forestry department, and has moved to Iowa and says, you know what? Now, here's what I want to do. Here's where my passion is. So what do I need to do to achieve it? And so we are actually working with him on what we call the rural business innovators. Everyone in the United States knows someone, whether it's a farmer or a small business owner, that has invented something, or they had a pain point in a process and they said, you know what, if I build it this way, it's going to be better. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, they do it, their process is better, but they don't think about actually commercializing it, or maybe somebody else wants to do it. So that's what that program does, is really help figure out, is it something that I can commercialize? Do I need to have a strategy around it? And at the end of the day, how can we build wealth in some of those areas? So another one that she was not a veteran, but her grandfather was. He fought in World War II. Mm-hmm. And the story was one that absolutely amazing. It's a distillery, and it is up in Bancroft, Iowa, S&B Farms Distillery. And the first time I met with her, she had some health issues. She was diagnosed with MS, and she said, you know what, I want to do something where I can incorporate something that we grow on the farm. Wow. And at the time, her doctor said, well, you need to kind of take it easy. And so she thought, oh, I'll start a small business, because we know that's only 20 hours a day.
Yeah, just lay on the sofa and eat bonbons.
Right? So fast forward, she worked with the SBDC, worked through the regulatory questions, and one of her products was called Private First Class, because that's what her grandfather was. And it was his picture on the front of the bottle. I will make sure to bring it to the conference so you can see it. He has since passed away, but before he passed away, we were able to get Veterans Affairs, and we were able to get our senator there to get some challenge coins. And
that's so cool.
It was amazing. And the community came around, and it was about his story, and it was her tribute to him, to recognize him for what he did. He was very quiet about his service, and which is very common. Mm-hmm. And it was just one of those things that you tear up, and I don't want to cry. And what type of businesses do we work with? Or, sometimes people say, oh, I'm too small to go to an agency like you. It doesn't matter. You can be a home-based business. You can be a business that, can I do it in my home? Or I have somebody say, well, it's just a hobby business. Guess what? It had the word business in it. A hobby business is a business.
That's right.
You are real. You are not the tooth fairy. You are a real business. So, it doesn't hurt anything, but maybe an hour of your time to reach out to, whether it's the small business development centers. If I can throw my website out there.
Yes. Yeah.
IowaSBDC.org. And we also link to the other partners in the state of Iowa. Now, remember, if you're in other states, all you need to do is just Google small business development centers, and our services are completely at no cost. One other thing I want to say too is we've had people come in and say, hey, I'm just kind of kicking this idea around. Maybe I'm not ready to come talk to you. That's the best time to come talk to us, because we can kind of help minimize some of the risk, because with risk comes cost. And if we can minimize some of that risk, we can hopefully avert losses that you may have with some of the outpouring of funds. So that's where we want to step in, and then get you connected to other businesses, create an ecosystem, or get you tapped into that ecosystem that will help you succeed.
Yeah. So, really, it's a holistic thing. You benefit in every way. And the thing that you were just talking about, somebody with just an idea, they can help you figure out if it is a viable idea.
Absolutely.
And or if there's an even better, bigger idea that you can, that you can grow that into, or expand your vision, because a lot of times people dream small instead of dreaming big. And it's
Yeah.
not really any harder to dream big than it is to dream small, is it?
Exactly. I did have a business owner actually living in Iowa. I moved away for years, lived in Chicago, Myrtle Beach, Atlanta, came back to Iowa. And I'm just going to kind of tell a story about how small town. It was somebody went up to my dad and said, your daughter helped us on our business. And the thing was, we were thinking this big. But when she looked at us, she said, no. There's so much more potential. And this is a business that at the time was looking at doing meals for working families. Their target market was me, somebody who was working full time and felt bad for having macaroni and cheese and applesauce every night. That, hey, here's something you could just put in the oven. And within about 3 months, we realized, okay, it needs to be meals for one. And now they do over 70,000 meals for one per month.
Wow.
Per month.
What's the name of it?
It is Sisters Homestyle Entrees. They're up in Humboldt, Iowa. So if you are a little bit, have a few hours, it's only about an hour and 20 minutes north of Ames. But an amazing business owner, and somebody who gives back to their community and to their employees. Just an amazing.
Now, do they serve just locally, regionally, in the state, or what?
They serve throughout the state. Their facility is USDA, so they could go across state lines, and maybe they are. I haven't talked to the last few weeks, so but that was mainly in Iowa.
Yeah.
And when
that's a lot of meals, and that is one example, y'all, of how this one idea can explode.
And who knew at the time when they were putting their plan together?
Yeah.
That was not even on the radar that would be where their next steps would go. And it's exciting. And that's why we need to make sure that we're always pushing those boundaries and asking ourselves, why not?
Yeah.
And why not now?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we
remember my 3 magic questions: why not, and what if? Because I didn't remember if I said that, but I always tell my clients, whatever you're working in, why am I doing this, or why am I doing it this way, or whatever, why anything, and then why not? So that might be, why am I not trying this other thing, whatever, and then what if I could something. So I'll give you an example, and this is from 25 years ago. I had a client whose business was going to go bankrupt. They published a set of technical guides, and her husband had passed away. The books had gone out of print because they'd sold them all. She couldn't afford to take them back to print. And so normally what she did is every 2 or 3 years, she would write another volume, add on to it, because it was products for professionals in that industry, in the marine industry. So my first thing is, why are you paying for it? So that was the easy one. We figured out a way. I helped her pre-sell books. She didn't have to sell. She didn't have to pay for it. But then I was like, why do you even have to get them printed? She goes, because they're books, And I'm like, yeah, but there's this thing called the internet. And so I worked with her, and we developed a subscription-based business model. And so she had monthly, quarterly, and yearly recurring revenue, depending on where the clients wanted. How they wanted to set it up, and the clients didn't have to wait 2 and 3 years for the next volume, so she could serve them better, and they could access it anywhere they had internet access. Now, of course, back then it was dial-up; you had to be sitting at a computer, but also just somebody that was sitting at home and dreaming about buying a sailboat could get a 24-hour to 1 week subscription to help them in buying a boat. And we were already selling the books on Amazon, but then we developed this subscription-based business model. This was in '97.
That's amazing.
We sold it right before the .com bubble burst, and it wasn't up for sale. But that's an example of, she was like, are you crazy? What do you mean, why am I printing it? It's a book. But so think about your biggest problems. In her case, it was, oh my God, when I sell these books, I've got to keep so much of the money to be able to afford to take them back to print. So figure out a way that you don't have to do that, and not just the obvious thing, but figure out a way to get rid of that problem forever.
Exactly. It's about thinking about it differently.
Yeah.
And she was able to listen to what you said and accept that there was a new way of doing business.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Well, did I tell you that my father's blind?
Oh, huh.
He was blind. He passed away in the 90s. But for the longest time, I couldn't figure out why I'm so weird, why I think so differently. And I was well into adulthood where I'm like, oh my gosh, I grew up with a father who did anything he wanted. He rode horses, shotguns, played basketball with us, mowed the grass. He built his own horse trailer that was street legal. He had a wood shop in our basement with a lathe. I'm like, if you grow up with somebody like that, you can't not be weird, because anything that he wanted to do, he figured out a way that he could do it. So, for example, most people would be like, how the heck can somebody that's blind mow the grass? He did it barefoot. That is so obvious, but sighted people would never think of that.
No.
Because, you know, and so he could tell if he was barefoot, he could tell where the grass was shorter and longer. Now, when we got big enough to mow it, Daddy wasn't mowing anymore. but he could if he wanted to or had to. And
Right.
so I've realized that him losing his sight as a little boy at age 8 was such a gift to me and my sisters, you know, because we did by osmosis learn all these things that we wouldn't have otherwise.
And you look at things differently. Mm-hmm. There's more options out there, and you just grab onto that. I can do that. I can do that.
That's right. So people listening, you need to start trying to put yourself in a position of not being you, try to look at it through somebody else's eyes or somebody else's head or somebody else's needs or wants, whether it's what they may need that you could provide to them, or whether it's how you could go about solving your own problem.
Figure out what the pain point is.
Yeah.
Once you know what the pain point is, for us, back to the shopping, I would rather stick a fork in my eye than go shopping. However, if somebody says all I have to do is be sitting down and watch a quick video that I can fast forward through and then make a comment and I'm done, absolutely, hands down. So find that pain point for people out there. And remember, those pain points change.
Yes.
And with your customers. So you need to be ready to change too. And that's one thing that I have noticed in all the years. I've been doing this I've been state director for about 9 years. And I've been doing small business development for about 17. And one thing I've learned is the folks that are most successful are the ones that are willing to pivot.
Yes.
And there are so many times you think, oh, but I just invested in this piece of equipment because we were going to do X, Y, Z. If the market's not there, you need to figure out what's another pain point that I can alleviate. How can I still hit the clients that I need to hit so that I can make money and sell what I need to sell? Yeah,
don't get so invested emotionally in what you're doing. Yeah. And I mean, I'm a fine one to say, because there are lots of things over the years, but still, you have to remind yourself, this is business, you know, and try to know when to let go.
Yep.
So, okay, so tell everybody how they can register, or when the conference is, how they can register and all that good stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the conference is June 1st, which is going to have that pitch competition and the kind of the scheduling beforehand that evening. And June 2nd, all day is full of guest speakers, keynotes, breakout workshops. So you have multiple options to do it. And what I do recommend is if you have a business partner or a spouse, anyone else you can bring with you, because guess what? You're going to want to really make sure that you're attending as many of those things as you can attend. And in order to register, the register is through Iowa State University. And the quickest way is to Google ISU Veterans Conference. And that'll pull you right up. It's the Iowa Veterans Entrepreneurship Conference in Ames, Iowa, Thursday, June 1st and Friday, June 2nd. Like I said, so many things. And the race car, the opportunity to advertise on the race car, how amazing is that? What an opportunity for a small business to really jumpstart what they want to do in their marketing. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I'm so excited about that. And I just can't wait to see who wins it. But y'all are doing the conference is having its own pitch competition as well, right?
Absolutely. And if you've never done a pitch competition, maybe somebody's thinking, what is a pitch competition? Think about we talk about elevator pitch. Mm-hmm. Tell me in 5 minutes or less what you do, what you're good at that nobody else is, and how you're going to make money at it. Yeah. Walk through, this is what I do. Here's why I'm really good at it. And here's how we're going to make money. And here's why you want to be a part of my story. That's what your pitch is. And think Shark Tank. Think any of those shows that you're watching and you're thinking, oh, I need that. How many times have we thought about something and all of a sudden we buy something that it's like, okay, I didn't even think I wanted this because I didn't know it even existed 2 days ago. So that's what we want to really promote is understanding your pitch, knowing what you do, and having that elevator pitch of, boom, here's what I do, and here's how I can meet your needs. Yep. That's what we want people to learn how to do.
And the only difference in the pitch to y'all, or the main difference in the pitch to y'all and to us, is we don't want to know just what you do and why you want to be on Colin's car, but we want to know why you're a good strategic partner for us. Because we're in this for the long run. Colin's only 22. He could be racing for decades, and we plan to pursue this mission for decades. And so the people that we partner with, we love long-term relationships. So be thinking from that angle, why should we choose you?
Absolutely. And how can they get more information about Colin and the mission and things like that?
1111veteranproject.com or 11-11vets.com, or just Google 1111 Veteran Project or Colin Garrett Racing. Now, the racing site is more about him, but it does link over. And the cost for your conference is $30. Is that right?
It is. It's $30. If it is something that becomes cost prohibitive, all you need to do is just shoot us an email. There's a link on there, and you can just ask for a scholarship. There are some scholarships available. We're happy to provide. The thing is, we just want to encourage veterans to get their spouses, families of veterans. This conference is for you, and it is just an amazing opportunity.
And I would also say, even if you're active duty and you don't even know when you're getting out, please come. You're going to learn so much, and it will give you so many more options when you are ready to transition out. So active duty veterans, military spouses, dependents, anybody, military families, we want y'all there. And I have to say, when we were first sent the schedule, I was like, oh my gosh, I could not believe all the resources that y'all are having in a one-day, basically a one-day event. I mean, I've been to a ton of conferences over the years, but this one is jam-packed with options for everybody. So I highly encourage y'all to come. And when you do come and introduce yourself to me and let me know that you watched this show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if, you mentioned active duty, and if somebody can't get away or you're, out of state, boy, 6 degrees of separation, find somebody and send them. Yeah. Because then they can bring back that information. They can bring back those resources for you to help you get a jump start on where you want to be.
That's a great point. They're not going to be saying, show me your military ID to get in. So if you have somebody that you want to send on your behalf, please do it. Don't miss out. Thank you so much for joining me, Lisa. I will put in the show notes the link to register because I forgot to do it. I'll put the link to register and all that good stuff. And we hope to see y'all there. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay. See ya.